Confederations Cup open to the champions and runners-up of all 6 continental federations. And it was the Asian champions from Saudi who threatened first. Mo Halil through. Dida stands big and parries the shot away. 50,000 on hand in Riyadh, and they almost got an unexpected reward. Dida again keeping Saudi at bay. The turning point came on 64 minutes. Zubramari's two-footed tackle, precisely the kind refs will clamp down on in the World Cup. Here too, it earned a red card. And having been given the opening, Brazil accepted the invitation. That was Sampiao nodding home for 1-0. And against the 10 men, the chances were there for the taking. The veteran Romario on the end of this move, 2-0 to the world champions. Now, what would a Brazilian game be without Ronaldo on the score sheet? We won't know, because there he was doing it again, wrapping up the victory with a tap-in. So the Brazilians continue in the form that's seen them lose just once in 22 months. The South Americans winning at a canter by 3-0. Later in the day, Mexico's new coach, Manuel Lapuente, made an unhappy start to his World Cup preparations. The CONCACAF champions opening their Confederations Cup campaign with a 3-0 loss to Australia.
And showed up for this one in Riyadh. The Czechs scored first through their striker, Vladimir Šmajcer, 1-0 on 20 minutes. South Africans started poorly but regrouped and got the equalizer through Brendan Augustine's header. 1-1 the score. The Czechs regained the lead less than a minute later. It's Šmajcer again, as he will exploit the slow reaction of the defense. Fired at home, 2-1 Czech Republic. The South Africans would dominate the second half. They had this apparent goal by Philemon Masinga disallowed for offside. They kept attacking relentlessly, and it would pay off. The Czechs were down to 10 men when Helman Mikelele drove one into the back of the net. 2-2 was the final score. The day's opening Group B affair featured 2 teams that won't be going to the World Cup finals next year. Uruguay won its opener, beating United Arab Emirates. On
Sunday, the ever-improving Aussie team faced the ultimate test against world champions Brazil, playing in blue and for whom Ronaldo fed Flavio Canseco. His shot beat Mark Bosnich but hit the post. Roberto Carlos had a crack with one of his long-range specials, but he was wide. Brazil off the mark all day, in fact, and 0-0 it finished. Host Saudi Arabia and Mexico, both beaten in their first matches in Group A, knew it was win or bust on Sunday. The Mexicans rose to the task, opening their account after 19 minutes through Francisco Palencia. They had to wait until the 62nd minute for their second goal. Palencia again the scorer of another scrappy effort. Soon after, it was 3-0. Blanco this time with the first of his 2 goals. The Saudis in disarray. Luis Hernandez found Braulio Luna at the far post for Mexico's 4th after 77 minutes. This clash of 2 World Cup qualifiers, a terribly one-sided affair. Blanco rounded off the rout. Just 60 seconds later, 5-0. And new Saudi coach Carlos Alberto Pereira knows he's got quite a task on his hands. Mexico's semi-final hopes are revived, but they have to face Brazil in their last match. Any 2 of the top 3 can make the last 4. Group B continues on Monday, and we'll have more action from the club scene later. United Arab Emirates in their second Group B match. Just 38 seconds into the game, a shock for the South Africans as Hassan Sahel scored for the UAE. Just 3 minutes later, the Emirates almost doubled their advantage. Yasser Salim's header was just wide. South Africa pressed for an equalizer in the second half, and after 65 minutes, John Mashoyu's shot hit the bar. Mark Williams' follow-up was off target. Herman Makelele had the next opportunity. Mosim made the easy save at the far post. Phil Masinga tried the spectacular overhead. Again, the UAE keeper was more than equal to the task. And in the end, it was the Emirates who could have struck again. Abdel Salam Juma was wide, though. Nonetheless, a 1-0 win for the UAE. South African captain Lucas Radebe and fellow English Premiership player Eric Tinkler missed their flight and failed to show up for the match. They faced possible sanctions by their federation. Meanwhile, Uruguay became the first country to qualify for the semi-finals with a 2-1 win over the Czech Republic, for whom Karol Poborski was sent off after 40 minutes.
A rebound from a 0-0 draw in their last game. Pardo is brought down by Conceição, and the penalty is awarded. Romario steps up and converts in the 40th. Brazil on the board. Mexico equalizing right after the break. Luis Hernandez setting up Blanco. He taps it in, 1-1 on 52 minutes. The Brazilians would recapture the lead just 4 minutes later. Francisco Gabriel making the defensive error that allows Denelson to pounce on the ball. 2-1 Brazil. Then 7 minutes later, Biani makes it 3-1 as he cuts inside. hammers in a fantastic shot from the tight angle. Mexico didn't give up. Glimmer of hope in the last minute. Substitute Ramon Ramirez curls one in from the free kick. Too little, too late, though. Brazil win at 3-2. So with 7 points from 3 games, the Brazilians win Group A. Romario netting his 3rd goal of the tournament. Superstar Ronaldo, who was replaced at the halftime by Bebeto, has yet to score.
To the calm before the storm then in Riyadh as 30,000 made their way to the stadium. And it would be worth the trip for the home fans. Saudi Arabia with a crisp build-up. Mohamed Al-Kalawi with the finish. 1-0 Saudi. And a novel celebration. And the Arabians would continue to pack a punch in the second half. The measured pass from the left met by Sami Al-Jabbar. Mark Bosnich, though, with a good save in the Aussie goal. At the other end, the Australians' attacking style looked decidedly English at times. The pullback from the byline met by Mark Viduka, who just fails to cash in. And Viduka would come even closer from the corner near the end. The textbook header bouncing off the crossbar, with Aussie keeper Bosnich lending his weight to the last Australian attack. So the Australians fall to their first defeat under coach Terry Venables. The 1-0 loss, however, did not halt their passage into the semi-finals. The Aussies joining Brazil in the last 4 as Group A runners-up. To the Confederations Cup now, and the semi-final decider in Saudi Arabia. The Czech Republic gifted their opener by the UAE's Mohamed Obaid. 22 minutes later, the Czechs made it 2, and then they'd make it 3 9 minutes from that. That's Vladimir Spicer. Pavel Nedved's second came there just before half-time. Consummate solo effort. In truth, the United Arab Emirates were made to look like amateurs. This is Spicer again as the Czechs reach 5. 4 minutes later, and Spicer gets his hat-trick, 3 in the box to cannon home the Czech 6th. Consolation for the Emirates came on 78 minutes. Atal Yani catching out Pavel Srnicek. 6-1 would be the final score. After the Czechs hit 6 of the best, South Africa's only hopes of beating them to the semis hinged on thrashing Uruguay. They went ahead 1-0 through Lucas Radebe. Uruguay equalised 60 seconds later, though. Nice cross to Dario Silva, and that's 1-1. Uruguay would go up before half-time. Alvaro Recoba's shot just crossing the goal line, 2-1 Uruguay. Second half, Uruguay increased their lead. That was Dario Silva with his second, 3-1 Uruguay. South Africa would pull one back, though. 3 minutes later, on 69 minutes, Helman Michele one-times it into the net, 3-2. 8 minutes later, South Africa pull level. Poland Mindelaina scores the goal for 3-3. But in the very last minute, heartbreak for the South Africans. Christian Callejas picks his spot, and that's 4-3. That scoreline leaving Group B, finishing with Uruguay in pole position, 5 points clear of the runners-up from the Czech Republic. The UAE took 3rd, with South Africa gaining valuable experience ahead of the World Cup, despite finishing last. Friday's semi-finals pitting the world champions Brazil against the Czech Republic, while their South American neighbours Uruguay meet Australia. Brazil, by the way, will be without star names Ronaldo and Denilson. During the semis, that is, with both nursing shoulder injuries.
But first things first, Ronaldo's Brazilian side in action on Friday in the semifinals of the Confederation Cup in Saudi Arabia. Early on, Brazil controlling, but Romario's shot way off the mark. Later first half, Ronaldo would get a little closer with his effort, but it goes just wide. Another chance for Ronaldo, a little closer yet, but glances off the post. And we are 0-0 at the break. Second half, 54th minute, the Brazilians break through. Romario slots it home for his 4th goal of the tournament. 1-0 Brazil, and then 7 minutes from time, Ronaldo breaks through with his first of the tournament. The easy tap in, the final. Brazil 2, the Czechs 0. Brazil, the obvious favorites, booking their spot in the finals. In the other semifinal, Australia met Uruguay for the right to face Brazil. And Marcelo Zalieta's effort just wide in the first half. Second half still scoreless. The keeper nicely done off the shot by Alvaro Recoba, still 0-0. Again, Uruguay pressing, but the shot by Zalieta saved nicely by Mark Bosnich. Late in the match, Australia with a chance to win it, but Josip Skoko's header goes just wide, and we went to extra time. And 2 minutes into extra time, Australia's Harry Kewell, unmarked outside the area, rips the left footer just out of the keeper's hands and into the net for the golden goal. The Aussies win 1-0 in dramatic fashion For a major boost after the bitter disappointment of just missing the World Cup finals, the Aussies perhaps treating this as their World Cup, and they'll get the favorites next summer in France in Sunday's final. They played the Brazilians tough in their first round match last Sunday, drawing 0-0. So the championship match could be very interesting. Prior to the final, the Czech Republic and Uruguay will battle for third place.
A week makes to the deadly duo. They were on fire. Ronaldo opening the scoring after just 14 minutes with the first of his goals. 13 minutes later, Ronaldo's speed putting him past two defenders, and then the little flick. Mark Bosnich in the goal left stranded. A superb finish by Ronaldo, the World Footballer of the Year. After 37 minutes, Romario got in on the act. On his chest, in the back of the net for 3-0. And so he continued after the break. 53 minutes gone. Ronaldo's flicked header. Romario beating the defender superbly, just backed off him, chested it down, fired home. Soon after, Ronaldo with another, his hat-trick. That was 5-0. Brazil were just irresistible on this day, and after 75 minutes, Ronaldo was brought down, Romario stepped up, and he scored his hat-trick too. 6-0 the final score. Romario's 3 goals earned him the Golden Boot as the competition's top scorer with 7, and the overall Brazilian display was a further indication why they're the favourites for next year's World Cup in France. Neither Uruguay or the Czech Republic qualified for next year's finals, but they had the Confederations Cup third-place match to occupy their thoughts on Sunday. The Czechs forced the pace early on. Pavel Kuka close, then Pavel Nedved's effort wide. And early in the second half, Nedved's free kick was pushed around by Claudio Flores. Could Uruguay break the deadlock? No, Christian Callejas, thwarted by Pavel Srnicek. And then Srnicek again, saving with his feet, this time against Nicolas Oliveira. After 62 minutes, the Czechs made the breakthrough. Flores fumbled Kuka's shot. Edvard Lasota scored. 1-0 the result. After the match, Czech coach Dusan Urin announced his resignation. He's to coach a club side in the United Arab Emirates.